I just want to introduce myself. My name is Stephanie. I met a few of you a while ago when I came in. I work for Swising, so we are a family-owned distributor. And this is Ashley. She is my brand manager for Aloxi. So we are going to sell her brand, and she's just going to take it away and give you all the info you need.
So how is everybody? Good? Half awake, half asleep? Well, who's up for some exciting information and maybe, some inspiration?
Yes.
Right? And who is open to some creative freedom and maybe exploring possibilities that you don't offer yet, right? So fun color opportunities, maybe some quick, easy 10-minute color options. I'm down for that. Are you guys down for that? Perfect. Well, that's exactly what we're going to go over today is the world of Aloxi and welcoming you guys to the Aloxi family because that's what we are. We are a family. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here, especially I know probably not what you want to do on a Monday morning. You'd rather be lively and keep you awake, but hopefully this is inspirational for you. And thank you for hosting us. We appreciate it. And to Miss Stephanie way in the back for putting this together. And my name is Ashley. I work for Aloxi. I've been a hairstylist for January 4th, 2006. This is when I passed state board, so however long that is. And I've been behind the chair ever since and doing education for the majority of that time, about 7 years of that. And it is just a really fun job to have. So as monotonous as education might seem to you now, when you get out of school, you're going to crave more education, I promise you. So getting into Aloxi, it is a family-owned company. It's very small. There's not very many of us that work for the brand, which is kind of nice because then it is very much like you call, we answer, right? We have a privately owned distributor as well, working with Swice. They're family-owned, so what that means is you'll have a really nice relationship with your consultant too. So you won't feel like you just go to the store and they don't know who you are, right? Stephanie will know all of her accounts, know about your rewards, what kind of work you do. If you prefer blonding, then she'll be able to offer you all the latest and greatest things. So it is really nice to have that one-on-one contact. Another thing that Aloxi offers, or what our motto is fashion, food, family, and fun. And the reason why those 4 F's are important is because people bond over mealtime, right? Whenever we go to our mom's or our grandma's house, we have good conversation, we catch up. So family and food is very, very important. But also fashion because we are in the hair industry, so we like to feel inspired and on top of our game, okay? And, the 4 F's, that's just a really important thing to us. So fashion, food, family, and fun. Another great thing about Aloxi is we all know a little brand called OPI, right? Everybody knows what OPI nail polish they're wearing. And that's something that has been brought over to Aloxi as well with color personalities. So you'll notice as we go through the presentation, each of our color options has a specific name to it. And the reason why is because the owner of Aloxi is George Schaefer, and he was the founder and creator of OPI nail polish. So you'll see all of our little shades, well, when you look through the consultation book, all of our little shades have a name like, let's take this one for example, 6A, Seduction on the Grand Canal, right? So now our client is no longer, I want to be, my old stylist used to use a 6A with 20 volume, right? She could go to anyone and give her formula away. But now your client would be Seduction on the Grand Canal. What does that mean? They don't know what that means, right? So in order to get that personality, they have to come back to you. So it's giving you a little something different, a little job security, if you will, okay? So each of our swatches has their own little color personality that accompanies it. And you'll notice too, something that we do that's a little different is we have a consultation book for our clients specifically so that they can look through here and pick out, some shades that they like. And they're separated for the client's eye. So it's all of your blondes, okay? Then it's all of your brunettes on a page so that they're not bouncing around between naturals and ashes and reds and all of that. It's all your brunettes all on one page. Nice and easy and simple for them to pick out things that they like. Then we move into our reds. Same thing again, our reds and coppers. So this is structured more for our client, right? But then we do have our swatch book. And this is for us, for the stylist, for the professional. Okay? These also are really nice because they lift up and pull out. So you can swatch up their natural level, their existing level, right, with this. And then they slip right back into the book, fold over, nice and easy. So very, very nice little piece for us to have. And then we do have all of our fashion colors in here as well, our direct dye category, which we'll go over that too. And then in the back, we have our color wheel, all that fun stuff. So this is our professional version of the swatch book, okay? Oops. There we go. All right, so go ahead and open up your salon technical guides, and we'll go over just the basics today. So on the very first page of your salon technical guide, you have a little brand overview, okay? And it's just when you first flip open the first page.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we have a few more. There's a few students.
You know what? We're out. I brought you, and it says "Welcome to the Aloxi Experience," and this has all of our brands on here. Okay, so we have Chroma. That's what we start with. Chroma is our permanent, traditional color brand. Okay, we have a little more than 80 opportunities there for color, so 80 different shades to choose from. Chroma is a low ammonia. I'm gonna write this out for you in case anybody wants to take any notes. So Chroma is low ammonia. Okay. Does anybody know what ammonia does? Anybody? Yeah. Thank you. You'd be surprised how many professional stylists think the opposite. They think developer does that. So opens cuticle. So why would it be a good reason to have low ammonia in hair color?
So it wouldn't open a cuticle, so it wouldn't cause like
excessive fadage, right? So we don't want to overexpose any underlying pigment. We don't want to open it too much, right? We just need to open the cuticle enough to get hair color inside, okay? So we're low ammonia, we're less than 1%. That's a big deal. That means you're going to have less irritation with clients, you'll have less fadage over time, and you'll just notice the condition of their hair stays in better shape, okay? Another good thing about Chroma is it has our CDP complex. And what that is it's our condition, deposit, and protecting agents. And so with CDP, it has coconut oil in the base. Okay, so that's a big deal, right? Everybody's all coconut oil crazy.
Yep.
So we have coconut oil. We also have P22 polymers. And what polymers do is they bind artificial hair color to our natural pigment inside of our hair. So it'll bind the two together. That'll give you better color retention. Okay? But we also have microcrystallized pigments. I'm just going to write micropig. We get the idea. So microcrystallized pigments is kind of an Italian thing. And what that means is that the pigments start off a lot smaller than most brands, right? Because as we know, especially red molecules, they're large, right? And they're hard to keep in there. Blue molecules are also large. They're hard to keep in there. Okay? So when we have micropigments, they're broken down a lot finer so that they can get in easier and then they'll last longer. And then with the low ammonia, we're going to be keeping the hair in better condition as well. So that is our CDP complex. Okay, so that is in every tube of our permanent color. Okay. Another good thing about Chroma is that we have 4 series that cover 100% gray. So most brands have how many? The one that you guys are using now. How many?
2,
right? You have a natural and then you have a double natural or an NN or a 00, right? So we have those, but we also have, so I'm going to write down here, so N, natural ash, and N, T, which is natural tan. All 4 of these will cover 100% gray. So now you have your traditional brown, your more intense version for coarse resistant hair. You also have a cooler gray coverage brown option, and you have a natural tan, which is added gold, so a warmer gray coverage option. Why would it be good to have 4 different options instead of just 2?
Because there's different types of hair that has different like desires.
Yes, okay, exactly. So let's change the way that was worded a little bit. So people have different desires for their color, right? So somebody might be doing a redhead or let's say a copper, and they need a warmer gray coverage because you don't want to use something that's too brown, it'll muddy it out, right? Because brown plus red equals red-brown, right? So they can use a more golden option, and that'll maintain the warmth for them so that it doesn't get too muddy. Now, what if somebody wants to, let's say we're working on a level 3 client, and we're lifting them lighter. They want to be a level 6 or a level 7, but they need gray coverage as well. Now we have a natural ash, so we're going to have some added coolness in that gray coverage to pair with our formula to give them gray coverage but maintain that ash tone. So you can customize your gray coverage a little bit better. Okay, that's a pretty big deal. You'll experience that more moving forward as you gain more experience and build a clientele. You'll see that having the ability to customize your gray coverage formulas is huge, huge, huge. Okay, so what is the next one down under chroma in your booklet? Andiamo. Does anybody speak Italian in here?
Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Thank you. So andiamo in Italian means let's go, like hurry up, rapido, like quickly, right? So andiamo. This is going to be a new category for you guys. Andiamo is a 10-minute permanent hair color. 100% gray coverage, 10 minutes. Right? So who would be a good client for this type of color? I feel like, yes, male clientele. So this is great for male clients. I heard somebody say under their breath, like they didn't want to be mean. Did somebody say older?
Yeah.
Yeah, older clientele that comes in and maybe it gets uncomfortable for them to sit for that long, right? So older clients, older guests, we'll say. Anything else? Double process, yes. Why would this be helpful? Because then we don't have to hang out as long, huh? We can make more money putting other people in here. So your double process. So when would you use andiamo for the double process? I heard it. To tone. You could use it for base breaking as well. Have you guys done base breaking yet? Or learned about? So base breaking would be, let's say you do a partial weave on somebody. They're level 5 and you just did some level 9 foils and then they want to just kind of shift their base a little bit so it's not so harsh. Yeah, bumping the base breaking, a root smudge, sometimes they call it now. So that would be a good opportunity because while you're toning the mid-lengths and ends, you could be bumping the base at the same time with andiamo. And done. Quick, easy, super, super fast, okay? So double process. Maybe when you just need to do a quick touch-up on somebody. Maybe they come in late for an appointment. Maybe for here, maybe they come like 15 minutes before you're done being able to take guests, right? And you're like, well, we don't want to turn them away. They drove all the way here, but like we're supposed to be leaving soon, right? So another good opportunity would be ones that run late. Or maybe a client that just, you just want to get them in and out quicker. Maybe they're we like to call them like energy drainers, right? So maybe those clients. So Andiamo gives you a lot of opportunity. Maybe there's somebody that's been coloring their hair at home because they don't have time to come in. This would be a game changer because now you can offer them that type of service, right? Maybe it's a client that comes in only for a cut, but they do their color at home because it's quick and easy. They don't have a lot of time away from the kids, things like that. An upgraded ticket now. You could say, do you have 10 extra minutes? Like, can you spare 10 extra minutes? Because if you can, we can get your color done today as well. Who's going to say no to that, right? Instead of them having to stop at the store, buy the box that they want, put it on themselves. That's a lot more time and more energy. Okay, so upgrading a ticket as well. Anything that I missed? No? Okay. So what's great about Andiamo, it's a very condensed brand. There's 15 options, and that's it. So it's not an overwhelming inventory. It wouldn't be a lot to have here, right? 15 different shade options. 2 of those are high lifts. So we do have an 11A, which is a high lift ash, and we do have an 11N, which is a high lift natural. It's going to give you a warmer resolve. But we have reds, coppers, golds, ashes, we have mahoganies, and we have naturals. So it gives you a wide range. You can really create and mix and match whatever you want. The key with Andiamo is that you have 10 minutes application time, and then 10 minutes process. So that's kind of perfect, okay? Because what we did was we went across and had like the average taken of how long the average stylist takes to apply a base color, and it's 8 to 8.5 minutes is the average time. So what we did with Andiamo was, you know, a problem that happens a lot with 10-minute colors is they start processing from the moment that you mix them up, okay? So then you have to rush to get it on, otherwise it starts going dark really quickly. With Andiamo, we gave it a delayed oxidation rate. And so what that's going to do is give you time to apply before it starts going really dark, okay? So you have 10 minutes to apply. Once that 10 minutes is done, then you start your process time. Okay, so quick and easy. Any questions about Andiamo? Easy as well, 1-to-1, so equal parts with developer. Done deal. Okay. What's the next one on the list? Tones. Does anybody have an idea of what tones would be?
Toner.
Yes, exactly. Easy peasy. So tones is our demi-permanent. So it is 100% ammonia free, no derivative, no nothing. Do you have any guests that come in here that are sensitive to ammonia or allergic to ammonia, or just ask you for an ammonia free option? No? Nobody's too picky? Good, good. Well, if you ever come across that, Tones is completely ammonia free. It's also neutral pH. So a neutral pH means it's not going to open the cuticle or close it. It's going to just leave it alone, which is ideal, right? With Tones, you can, of course, do toning services. Okay, so if you want to tone a blonde, it's great for that. You can also do gray blending. So it'll blend up to 70% gray. Okay? So gray blending. What's another way to use a demi-permanent? Say that again. Say it loud and proud.
A gloss?
Yes. So a gloss. So just if somebody wanted to add shine, we do have a clear tones option. The clear will also help you dilute. So let's say that you had a client that you need a level 8 on. You need to tone them with a level 8, but we only have a 6 or we only have a 7. Okay? You can take that level 6 and mix it with clear, and it'll make it a level 8 for you. You can also make fun pastels with tones as well. If you had a client that, you know, maybe wants that fun lilac-y color, we have Violet Gem, which is a concentrate. You can mix that with clear to make lilac. You can make pastel any color, really. So the clear is going to become really your ally. It'll help you kind of create whatever you're looking to make. Another thing that tones is really good for is, have you guys learned about filling or tint back to natural yet? Yeah. Okay. So whenever you do a fill service, you can definitely use tones for that. The reason why we would say to use tones instead of going in there with permanent is because when you're doing a fill service, you're working on what type of hair? Porous, but why is it porous? We pre-lightened it, right? That's why we're doing a fill. We're going back darker. So we're working over hair that's already compromised, or that the cuticle's already open. So we don't need ammonia in the formula to open the cuticle. It's done for us already, right? So what we need to do is just go in there with a Demi-permanent ammonia-free option, put the color inside, and just back out and not disturb that cuticle, okay? So tones is great for filling. It's also great for clients that you just want to refresh the mid-lengths and ends. So maybe you touched up their base color, but you notice their ends are looking a little drab, okay? That would be a refresher, and you can do that with tones. It'll just gloss that hair. It'll deposit a little bit of pigment in there to make it look nice and even, consistent all the way through. You can also use it on clients that maybe want to try out a color, right? Maybe it's me and I say, oh, I want to try being a brunette. Okay, I don't really, but pretend I did. Took a long time to get this light, but pretend I did. You can go in with tones because it'll just gradually release from the hair. You don't have to worry about a line of demarcation. So you can explore and test and play with clients' hair a little bit because you won't have to worry about maintenance. You won't have that line to deal with. Okay, so low maintenance as well. However you spell maintenance, because I don't know, M-A-I, M-A-N-T-A-I, huh?
Sounds May 10 and
Yeah, but is it M-A-I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Thank you. So tones has the CDP complex as well, but the CDP complex in tones is a little bit different. So in tones, instead of using coconut oil, we go in there with metaphone seed. And metaphone seed is going to help just make sure that the hair stays nice and yummy. It's an emollient agent, but it's also going to give the color something to hold on to as well. Okay, so that's what we use in tones. And that'll just leave the hair nice and silky soft and combable. Another really nice thing about tones is that you can use it room temperature or you can process them under the dryer. Either way. So whichever way you want to do it, you have the option. Okay? And tones you can mix 1-to-1 with developer or 1-to-2. And the tones developer is 7 volume. So if you mix 1-to-2 versus 1-to-1, what do you think the difference would be? If you put less developer, what do you think the result would be? A little more pigmented, right? Because we have more pigment in the formula, less developer. If we do it 1-to-2, we have more developer, so it'll be a little more sheer, right? A little more diluted, okay? So when would we want a formula a little more pigmented?
gray blending.
If we're doing a gray blending option, absolutely. It'll give us more of a blend. Or if we want a more vibrant result, maybe we're doing a redhead. Okay, we want as much red in the formula as we can get. 1-to-1 would be best. If we are toning a blonde, 1-to-2. Okay, does that make sense? We don't want a whole lot of pigment in the blonde, otherwise we'll ash her out or make her too dark. So 1-to-2 in that case. Or if we're running tones through the mid-lengths and ends to even out somebody's color, we want to do a 1-to-2 ratio because their ends have been previously color treated, so they're going to absorb more color, okay? Something to remember, and you might already know this, but just in case you don't. Healthy hair rejects coolness and accepts warmth, and porous or damaged hair rejects warmth and accepts coolness. That is very important when it comes to toning, okay? Because we know that the more porous the hair is, the less it's going to want to accept warmth, and it's going to want to pull drab and matte and more ash and muddy, okay? Any questions on tones? No? And what's the next one? Oh, dimensions, okay. I thought, yeah, I don't know what I thought. I thought like maintenance, and then I heard management. I'm like, what? Okay, dimensions. I think you guys have something similar to this in Wella, but I'm not 100% sure. So dimensions. Does Wella have an option that lifts through permanent color but is not a bleach or lightener? Yes, you do? You do? Yes? Anybody?
Not sure, I'm not here, not the stuff we use.
Okay, okay. I think they might. It may or may not be called magma. But dimensions is essentially a highlighting color.
Oh yeah, this is magma.
Okay. So with dimensions, what you can do is say, who has previously color treated hair that's dark in here? Okay. So let's say that she was our model for the day. And what's your name? Audrey. Okay, so Audrey's our model for the day. And she says, well, you know, I have my level 3 base. What is your base?
Maybe 2 or 3, somewhere in between.
Okay.
It's pretty dark.
So let's say she comes in and she has a 3N that we did on her last time, right? So we know that she's color treated. And she says, well, I want some highlights through my mid-lengths and ends, but I don't want you to use lightener or bleach, right? I don't want you to use that. Because some clients are nervous about that. Maybe they've had a bad experience. Or maybe they read on Instagram that, you know, lightener is terrible for your hair, right? So they get a little gun shy. So she says, I want you to give me highlights but no bleach. Well, how could we do that? She has previously color treated hair. So what we do is we go to dimensions. Dimensions is a highlighting color, so it will lift through permanent hair color and give us highlights, okay?
How many shades?
Up to 4, depending on what developer choice you use. Yep, so if you go in there with 30 volume, it'll give you 3 levels of lift. If you go in there with 40 volume, it'll give you 4 levels of lift, okay? Now dimensions is cool because you can do color correction with it, right? You can even out, let's say you have some banding. A client comes in that was darker and then they went a little lighter, then they went a little darker, now they want to go a little lighter, and so they have some bands of different shades in their hair. You can go in there with dimensions and lift out those darker bands, okay? You can also, of course, do highlighting. So highlighting. This is why I'm not an English teacher, you guys, because half the time I just write and then I realize the letters are in the wrong order. So you can do highlighting, you can do color correction with it. Okay. And we have 3 different shades and dimensions. 2 of them are blondes and 1 of them is a violet red. Okay. So if you wanted to if you wanted to do just like a subtle natural highlight, we have the 0.0, which is just a natural base. We have the 0.31, which is a beige option. I'm going to put match. And then we have the 0.26, which is a violet red. Okay. Now, something else that we offer is a blue developer. So we have a blue developer in a 20 volume and a 40 volume, and that comes in really handy with dimensions, okay? Because if we're putting highlights over somebody with color treated hair, what's the result going to be? Warm, right? So if we have developer that's blue, blue's going to help us do what? Cool it down, neutralize it, negate that warmth out. So the 20 volume blue doesn't help us much in this case because we need a 30 or a 40, but we do have the 40 volume blue that you can utilize. We also have 40 volume in white developer as well, which you can feel free to use that too. And then you can also mix dimensions with any of our gems or our concentrates. So if you wanted to put more violet in here, if you wanted to put more ash in the beige, you can mix and match and create whatever you want. Okay? What's the next one on the list? After dimensions comes, anybody?
Ultra hot.
Ultra hots. Any idea what ultra hots are? Direct dyes. Yes, are brights. Yes, absolutely. Our ultra hots are these ones. These guys. So we have 10 different options of ultra hots currently, and hopefully we will be adding more. Okay, so ultra hots are really, really fun. The best thing about them is that they literally fade all the way back out to blonde. So you don't have to worry about staining. Okay, so when you have those clients that come in and say, okay, well, this time I want purple, next time I want pink, then I want teal, then I want blue, right? It'll literally fade completely out, and so you don't have to remove color or continually try and like counteract what's in there.
How long before it fades?
It depends on the health of their hair, to be honest. Usually the rule is for color, right? The healthier the hair, the longer the color lasts. For direct dyes, the more porous the hair is, the better the color lasts.
So it will not stain porous hair.
No, it doesn't stain. It literally fades completely out. Yeah. I have a client, her name's Raylene, and she's a natural level 4. We do a partial weave on her. Her sides are shaved, yada yada. But what we do is, one time she'll want like the blue fading into teal. The next time she'll want violet fading down into pink, right? So every about 7 to 8 weeks when she comes in, we're changing her color up. I've never once had to strip her color out in order to change it to something else. That's a really big deal. Because when we're working with direct dyes, right, we're working with violets and reds and all of those fun colors. We kind of dread them changing it, right? Even though they're the ones that like change, we dread it because we know we're going to have to pull that stuff out of there. So now you won't have to be scared of it. So it will release from the hair. Release. I'm going to put it nicely. Okay, and then it also has a blue coupler dye. And the reason why we put a blue coupler dye in there is so that as the color fades out, it'll fade on tone, okay? Because nothing's worse than putting blue on somebody and then fading out to green, right? Has anybody had that experience yet? Yeah, right? So having that blue kind of underlying pigment in there will help everything fade on tone because it's going to help neutralize the warmth out, okay? The way that we use Ultra Hot is pre-lightened hair. So pre-lighten. Okay. We do recommend pre-lightening to a level 10, but if they're a level 9, is it going to not work? Of course, it's still going to work. Okay. Another thing that that is wise to do is pre-tone first. Okay. So pre-lighten the hair, then pre-tone. Why would pre-toning be a good idea? Does anybody know? Say that loud and proud. So to take out any unnecessary warmth. Because if we go in, let's say somebody is a little yellow still, okay, and they want a silver, they want a very light, like lilac-y violet color, and we put that over somebody with warm blonde, that's just going to pretty much tone out the warmth. It's not going to give us that impactful lilac that they want, or that silver, right? Because silver neutralizes warmth. So you won't see the silver, it'll be gone, and then they'll just be more platinum-y. So if we want those fashion shades to show up, especially when we go into the pastels, which would be like, let's say, any of the pastel options, then we do need to pre-tone any warmth out of the hair first. So that's when you would go in there with your tones and use a 10V or a 9P or a 10A and get all that yellow out. And then that way when you put that silver, that lilac, when you put that fuchsia, right, whatever you're doing, that way you see that true color. Okay? So pre-tone and ultra hot. And ultra hot is process time of 10 to 20 minutes. If you want it a little bit more subtle or a little lighter for you, 10 minutes. If you want that full impact, 20. Room temperature, no heat, no nothing. Easy, simple. Any questions on ultra hot? No? Yeah.
So my hair is dead.
It's dead?
Yeah, it's dead. Like usually when I put color, because I like exotic colors, it wouldn't like stain at all, so it would fade out if it like lose the hair, or
Are you putting it on your hair dry?
yeah.
Okay. So follow along with me for a second, because this didn't make sense to me until somebody told me. I always thought if I put direct dyes on dry hair, it would absorb better because it's dry. That's actually not the case. What absorbs water better, a damp sponge or a dry sponge?
Yeah.
A damp one. Ding, right? So then like all these years and all this time, and I was kicking myself in the butt, right? Because I was putting it on dry hair expecting that it would be even and all of that, and it never really was, right? Some areas would be a little more vibrant, some wouldn't pick up as much. And that was because of porosity issues. But if the hair is damp, it's going to be evened out porosity-wise. So you'll get a better evenness of color, of saturation. But also, damp hair is it's better with absorption of color. So that might be part of it. Also, if your hair is, let's say, it's been 3 days and you're like, oh, I'm not going to wash my hair because I'm doing my color tomorrow. And then you put direct dyes over hair that has dry shampoo, serum, hairspray, wax, whatever that you style with. It's not going to be able to penetrate through because there's nothing in direct dyes to open a cuticle, to remove buildup, nothing, right? Its job is to just sit on top of the cuticle and slightly inside the cortex, okay? So if there's any impurities in the hair, it's going to inhibit the color absorption as well. So shampoo your hair first, wring out as much moisture as you can, and then put direct dyes on, and it'll hold a lot better. Since we're on this topic, it's not in, it might be in your salon technical guides, but I don't think it is. We just launched our new colored conditioning masks. They're called InstaBoost. So I'm going to leave the charts up here for any of you that want to grab them, or I could just actually leave them behind, and then that way you guys have some extras floating around. But what InstaBoost is it's going to be a helping hand with those of you that like the direct dye options, because we do have a violet, we have a silver, we have a rose gold, we have all of that for you in a conditioning color mask, so that you can either utilize this here in the school at your salons when you graduate, or you can have your clients take these home and use them at home to maintain their color. Okay?
Does it stain their hands?
It will. It will. Good question. She asked, will it stain their hands? Absolutely, yes it will. Okay. The silver, no. The rose gold, no. What's the other one that will? The pink, please. It has one time stained my hands. The other time I got a little smart and I just put regular conditioner on my hands, and then I put the pink, please, and then that way it didn't really stain. So
Does it
condition.
stain your nails though? So if you have like white nail polish or something,
Yes.
it definitely
Yes.
stain the nails.
It will for sure. Yeah.
How long will those sit on the hair?
Like how long will it last, or how long do you let it sit before you rinse it?
How long will it last?
So these will last anywhere from 5 to 10 shampoos. For the more pastel, the Vivids will give you 10 to 15 shampoos. Okay? And you can absolutely cocktail these together. So if you want to make some fun cocktails, we have a fun cocktail formulation guide on the back. But you simply just shampoo your hair first, like you normally would before you do a treatment mask. And then you can leave this on 5 minutes, And if you want more color absorption, so you want like a deeper version or you want a more vibrant version, this chart also has 1 use versus 3 uses versus 5 uses, so that you see the depth of color that you get with every application. Okay, so let's say your client came in and they want the purple rain, and they want the deepest version. You would apply this 5 times to them. Okay, not 5 times, like 1 this week, 1 next week, 1 the week after. You do 5 applications for 5 minutes each. Rinse off in between, reapply, rinse, reapply, rinse. So it's a little time consuming if you do 5, but if you do the 3 applications or a single application, super quick and easy. The longer you leave it on, it's not going to deposit more for you. So 5 minutes is the max time to leave it on, okay? The really nice thing about this in comparison to most products like this, has everybody used or heard of the viral or the celeb luxury options? No? Okay. So that is a big one that we come up against a lot. The biggest difference between ours and theirs is that ours is an actual, like, legit conditioning mask, where theirs is a conditioner. So you're going to get benefits from this one that will last you, right? So this is going to have more yummies in it, where theirs is just a traditional
So
conditioner.
if each one has like a different type of conditioning for a specific type of hair? Or
No, these all have the same. So they all have the same ingredient base in them. The only difference is the pigments that are put in each one. So we have coconut oil, we have shea butter, we have sugar beet extract. That's going to give you nourishment. That's going to give you protein and moisture, right?
Also, the pigment won't affect the ingredients at all.
No, nope. So all of the 8 options are the same mask, but they just have different color added for different shade options. That's it. We also have something that's really cool in here because we're all on our cell phones, tablets, iPads, laptops, all of that all day, right? I mean, hopefully we're not. Hopefully we're learning about hair, but let's be realistic. We always have a phone in our face. And so our phone has blue light that comes out from it. And have you ever noticed that people will always say, well, you'll notice this more when you're in the salon, but they'll say, I don't know, I never go outside really. I gardened on Saturday, but my color just fades so much, especially right here around my face, like it gets light so quick. The reason is because they're probably sitting in front of their computer all day at work. And their computer or their phone or their tablet or their iPad emit blue light, which fades hair color. Okay, it's not just UVA and UVB we need to worry about. It's blue light as well. So inside this mask is Candula officinalis extract, and that's basically just lutein. And that helps protect against blue light. So that's really cool that it's in here because that's something that I never thought of as a stylist, right? I have those clients that they do get a little more dry around their face or where they'll have fadage, but I never put 2 and 2 together. And then once they pitch this to us, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. Because the ones that have the most fadage are the ones that are more like the techie jobs. I'm like, oh, light bulb moment, right? So that's in there as well as sunflower seed oil, which protects against UVA and UVB from outside light. So we kind of have all the bases covered with that. And Stephanie does have this. She has all of our stuff, but this in particular is on special right now with Steph. So if you want to try anything out, just hit her up. Any questions on Ultra Hots or Instant Lightener specifically? Right? Oh, blue light. Okay, we'll just do all of our lighteners. Lighter. We'll go over all of them right now. That way you see the difference between them. Okay, so we have white. We have blue. Oops, blue. We have ultra. We have freehand. We do have another one too, but we'll cover that separately. So white lightener is going to give you up to 7 levels of lift on virgin hair. Okay, so that's your standard traditional lightener. Okay, so this is 7 levels. And the base of our white lightener is olive oil and silk protein. Okay, so, oh yeah,
Can I ask a question?
of course.
Is that 7 levels of lift based on 20 volume?
Developers. With 10 through 40, it'll give you 7 levels. It'll just be quicker if you use 40 and slower if you use 10.
Perfect, thank you.
Of course. So the question for any of you that didn't hear, maybe the ones in the back, she asked, is the 7 levels of lift based on 20 volume or 40 volume, or what do we base that on? Any developer that you use with our lightener will give you 7 levels of lift. The only difference is 10 volume will be a little more slow and steady, and 40 volume will be like your racehorse, like very quick, okay? Does anybody know why we would include olive oil in our lightener? When we think of olive oil, what do we think of?
Smoothing skin.
Yes, yes. So smoothing, hydrating, suppleness, right? So we have olive oil. And what about silk protein? We need a little protein in our life, right? Especially when we're lifting, right? So silk protein is going to help maintain the integrity of our hair. Okay. Silk, oops. Silk protein. Okay. And what's really nice about our lighteners is we do have several different options for mixing. You can mix 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3, depending on how you like your consistency and what type of application you're doing. Okay? So that's good, because a lot of lighteners are very specific. Or they're specific, but we eyeball it, because that's what we like to do, right? We like to eyeball it. We know in the salon, that's what we do. We're like, oh, we like to pour a little of this, a little of that, whisk it together, see what consistency we like. And sometimes it lifts quicker, sometimes it lifts slower, depending on what we put in there. With ours, you could do 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3 to vary your consistency if you're doing on scalp. 1-to-1, or 1-to-2, I'm sorry. If you're doing off scalp foils, right? You can do 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3. The rule of thumb is thicker is quicker. So keep that in mind. If the lightener is really thick, more like Greek yogurt, it's going to work quicker for you because there's less developer in the formula to slow it down. If the lightener is a little more runny, like regular yogurt, then it's going to work a little slower. Why would slower be better?
Even lift.
Okay, even lift maybe for a beginning foiler, right? Somebody that's going to take a little bit more time. Maybe somebody like me, I talk when I'm doing my clients, right? And so sometimes I get to talking and I look at them and I forget that, like, oh, I have a job to do. Like, I need to put these foils in. So 1-to-3 is sometimes a better option if you foil slowly, or if they have a lot of hair and you're doing a full weave or a balayage or, you know, any type of like foil placement work and they have a lot of hair, it's going to take you longer to put those foils in, right? So maybe in the back, you start with a 1-to-3 mixing ratio because you need it to take a little longer because you know it's going to take you a while to foil. Then when you get towards the front, maybe you mix 1-to-2 or 1-to-1. That way the back and the front catch up. Okay? So you can definitely vary your mixing ratio depending on placement. Another good reason to vary your ratio would be if you're doing color correction. Okay? When we're doing color correction, sometimes we just want to take that person, they colored their hair at home, level 1, box color, and they just want to go back to their level 3, like rich chocolate brown. They don't want a whole lot of lift. They just want to lift out a couple shades. If we go in there full force with 1-to-1, they might be done before we've finished applying to all of their hair. So 1-to-3 is nice in that respect as well. Okay, it'll give us a little bit more consistency with that. Now with our blue lightener, all of this is exactly the same. 7 levels of lift on virgin hair. Olive oil is exactly the same, so protein as well. And the same mixing ratios. The only difference is that it has blue pigment in there to help neutralize warmth when lifting. That's it. So you don't have to remember any different rules. 1-to-1, 1-to-2, 1-to-3. So proteins, olive oil, and up to 7 levels of lift on virgin hair. Easy. Okay. Now, if we utilize the blue lightener with our blue developer, that'll give us even more controlling of warmth. Okay, so feel free to do that. Same thing with our white. You can use white developer or the blue developer, either way, okay? Then when we move into our ultra lightener is up to 9 levels of lift. So that's the big one that you bust out when you have a really dark client that wants to be very light. So up to 9 levels. Okay, the makeup is the same, so olive oil in there, so proteins is in there as well. Now the mixing ratio varies a little bit. Okay, so it's 1 to 2 for on scalp, and then 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2.5 for off scalp. Okay, the reason why we do 1 to 2 on scalp is because it lifts so light and so quickly. If you did too little or too much developer, it throws the lift off a little bit. So 1 to 2 seems to be the sweet spot when on scalp lightening with ultra lightener. With on scalp, we do 20 volume only. Okay, with all the rest, you can use 7 through 20 on scalp, 7 through 40 off scalp. You have a wide range. With ultra lightener, 20 volume on scalp only. 10 volume won't give you enough lift. 30 and 40 is way too much on the scalp. And then off scalp, you can do 20 or 30 volume. Okay, so a little more structured there. Got it? And then for freehand lightener, that is our clay base. Freehand lightener is up to 7. So same as the other ones, 7 levels, not 7 volume. Okay, so up to 7 levels, and that has a base that has clay but also oils in there. And so that's going to get hard on the outside. It's going to get nice and like a nice crest so that it doesn't bleed through to hair underneath. But that way it stays nice and moist on the inside so that it'll continue to lift. Now this is very different from other clay lighteners. The reason why is because most clay lighteners lift up to 5 levels. So ours lifting 7 levels is going to give you better lift, right? More lift, but also you'll be able to use this on a wider range of clients because you're not limited to your level 6s and above. Now you can use it on those level 4s, on those level 3s, on those lower clients, okay? And then all of our lighteners are 40 to 50 minute process time is the max, okay? So after 50 minutes, you definitely want to rinse off and reapply if you need more lightening, okay? If they're done before that, totally rinse them. You don't have to leave it the full time. Any questions on the lighteners? No? 14.1 ounces as well. So it's a good size tub and they're pretty inexpensive, okay? What's the next one? Quick lift. Quick lift. Do you guys currently work with an ammonia-free lightener? No? Well, if you bring on a Luxie, you will now. You'll have that option. Quick lift. So, biggest thing, ammonia free. Why is that a big deal?
People who are allergic to ammonia.
Yes, exactly. So now you can offer a lightening service to clients that are sensitive to ammonia, right? Or clients that maybe just prefer not to use ammonia on their hair, because we do have some of those as well. So it is an ammonia-free option. Another great thing about Quick Lift is you'll notice with the other lighteners, I didn't mention using heat, right? We don't recommend heat with our lighteners. With Quick Lift, you can absolutely use heat with this, okay? So if you utilize heat, it's 15 minutes, low heat, low air, meaning if you have the low setting for the air pressure, right? Low air. That way it doesn't blow your foils all crazy. So low heat, low air for 15 minutes. If you're doing room temperature, you can leave it on up to 35 minutes. Okay, so that would be the example of if you're doing a base color and highlights, you would want to leave it on under no heat, right? 35 minutes, that way the base can process, okay? But if a guest comes in here and they're wanting some highlights and they don't have a lot of time, maybe they're like, I have to get out of here in an hour and a half, and you need to foil them and tone them and maybe style them, right? Or cut them, trim them. Then you can do under heat 15 minutes, low heat, low air, tone them, cut them, get them in and out relatively fast, okay? So that's why it's called quick lift. It's super quick and easy. With the quick lift lightener, it does come like in a little box. Should be on page, let me see. Should be on 17. So just something to take a look at. If you guys ever do purchase quick lift lightener, or you bring it in, maybe we sample you, whatever, okay? With quick lift, it comes in a box, and the box has one tube, and then it has 4 sachets of powder. Now the sachets and the tube say step 1 and step 2. In your mind, make a mental note. It's part 1 and part 2. You mix the 2 parts together. You don't do them individual steps, okay? So you would mix 1 sachet with 1/4 ounce of cream, and then with 35 grams or an ounce of your developer. And that makes 1 round of, or 1 batch of lightener. Make sense? Because I get that question a lot, like, oh, do I do step 1 and how long do I leave it on before step 2? I'm like, no, you mix them together. So part 1 and part 2 instead of step 1 and step 2. Okay? And this is off scalp only. So this would be great for foiling. Okay? Any questions on quick lift?